So a short disclaimer, this is 100% true story of how me and my team actually were misusing TanStack Query. I took a little liberties with the code to make it like up to date with today's standards and to make it fit inside of the slides, but it is 100% TanStack, a true story. And if you don't know what TanStack Query is or React Query is, then I'm just gonna assume you wandered in from the street, saw a nice hotel, went in, saw some free food, and someone forced you to come into this conference to attend this talk. Everyone knows what React Query is. React Query is the way to handle server data, period. It's best known from taking you from this code, where you have a state for your data, state for loading, state for error, an effect where you fetch the data, to this, basically a React Query hook where it abstracts all of that for you, and the data is reusable into all of your components. But 3 years ago, I was not aware of React Query. This was me 3 years ago. I was starting my own startup, and I was writing the application from zero. And I worked in large companies before, so I had a predisposition to dislike state management libraries. Because I saw how bad things get when you misuse big state management libraries. So I didn't want to do it myself. So when I built my app and had control over the decision making, I decided not to use anything fancy and just rely on good old-fashioned React context. And it worked. At least for a while. We kept the state local and small, and when we needed reusability, we just hoisted up the context a level or two to reuse it. But at a certain point, and for us that point was 10 developers working in the state app, you just start to create providers after providers after providers. And your root file starts to look something like this. And I had 10 more that I couldn't even fit in this image. And I think at this point, you're basically creating global state artificially, and you're trying to juggle apples, oranges, kiwis at the same time. Then maybe it is better to use a state managed library to handle the juggling for you. So I asked around, and I asked the community, Reddit, what's the go-to state managed library 3 years ago? And everyone was raving about React Query at the time. And I was really intrigued by the concept and the mental model switch needed to understand it. You basically have to think about how you think about state into two. You have client state, which is UI, models, whatever, which you can still use React context with or a small state management library like Zustand. And then you have server state, the state we get from our API, which can cache and reuse everywhere in our code. And I thought, oh my God, what a revolutionary idea. I absolutely love it, especially when it became TanStack Query, so it became framework agnostic, so I could reuse it in React Native as well. I loved it so much. So I started using it almost for everything inside of my app. So my app was a CRM for students who are job hunting. They track companies, contacts, coffee chats, interviews, rejections, and there were a lot of rejections. Job hunting was miserable. So I decided to gamify the whole thing. So if I can make the job hunting less painful, at least I can make it seem like a video game. So we had XP points, challenges, some leaderboards, badges that you can achieve, actions that you need to do, progress levels that unlock different features inside of the app. And to accomplish all that, to implement all that, we needed to track every action that the user did. Every time a user sent an email or saved a contact or saved a job or applied for a job, we were, besides the normal post request for that resource to save it in the database, we also did another post request called complete action with the action type and the payload for that gamification action. And we ended up with over 100 types of gamification actions into our app. And each action had a side effect. If you completed an action, your XP grew. If you completed an action, you might complete a challenge. You might go up a level. You might go up in the leaderboard. Your activity feed might change, so other people see that you went up a level, and so forth. You might get a pop-up that you got leveled up. And to do this, I built a custom hook, use gamification, that wrapped the whole system inside with XP, challenges, leaderboards, everything was in a custom React hook. Then different custom hooks for other parts of the app, like use Kanban. The XP needed to be animated, so we had a special custom hook for that. And inside of these, we were using React query to fetch the data, because if you write it, and every component that needs to show the XP subscribes to that data, and it's cached, and you don't have to think about it to sync state between components. And we kept adding hooks, more features, more queries, and along the way, without making a conscious choice about it, we picked up a habit. Every time a user did something, like sent a message, drag a card, apply to a job, we would fire a mutation and then invalidate every query that could possibly be affected. So it started with 1, with the gamification actions, then we had 2, with challenges, then 3, and I think you're getting where this is going. We started adding more and more invalidations. And we called this after every gamification action. And there were over 100 of them, from all sorts of places. And the problem was it worked. React query did its job. Data was always fresh. UI always up to date. If we saw something that was stale, we just added another invalidate queries. And by the time we realized something was off, it was kind of too late. So we launched, and our business model was we were selling our product to universities. Universities will buy our product and give it to their students to use. And usually they gave it through an announcement email or when the students arrive on campus, usually September or October. So we had our daily users, and then a big spike when a new university signed in. And then more daily users, another big spike. And we noticed that during the spike, the app became unresponsive. Timeout error happens, and our DB CPU was reaching 100%. Now, you in this room, because it's a TanStack Query talk, you might know that the problem would be invalidate queries, but at the time, we didn't even suspect it. We saw the DB at 100%, we followed the endpoint, we assumed it was the DB queries, too many left joins, maybe we were not indexing the tables, API latency, the usual suspects. And we started scaling the DB, fixing queries, creating multiple API pods. But it kept happening. Every time we had a spike of users, the DB went down. We started paying around 5K, 10K to Google Cloud Platform we had only 300 daily users. Eventually, we noticed one metric that stood out. We had 1,400 requests per second on average when this spike was happening. So what was happening? First, the user did a normal app action, like sending an email. The email gets sent, that's one request. Then we invalidated the first degree queries, like the email sent on the page, the contact list, the contact itself, what the user was seeing, so the user sees fresh data regarding the emails. Those were 3, 4, or 5 queries that were invalidated. But then we kicked this gamification system kicking, because we were sending this on every action, and we were calling complete action unavailable every time. This was our abstraction. But then we were calling it because maybe an email, it's also a message. Maybe an email was written with AI, so we had to call it with the send AI message. And then we had to invalidate everything that was affected. So we had code sort of like this. When sending an email, the first line was the important one, and then different complete actions if available. And inside the complete action, if available, on success, the mutation, all of them were calling this function, which was invalidate queries. So for 4 actions that we were calling invalidate queries at least 12 times for each of them. So if you don't know what invalidate queries does, it doesn't just mark your data as stale and wait around. If there's a component that on screen that's subscribed to that query, it refetches the data. So you've got a lot of students doing normal stuff, sending emails, completing challenges, collecting badges, causing a domino effect, an increase on the DB. And listen, I'm not blaming TanStack Query at all. Invalidating is a legitimate and recommended way to handle data after mutations. It's just how we used it and implemented in our app that was a mistake. So what we could have done differently. First was our code design issue. We were calling the action 5 times and invalidating after each request like this, causing 50 potential extra requests. So we built a queue. The queue was simple. We just added all the actions in an array and a timeout function to execute the queue. And after the queue was executed, we were calling our invalidate gamification action just once. This took us from 66 requests without to 11 requests without the queue, which was pretty good for us. Now the fire was getting smaller. We lowered our DB instance twice and scaled down our API pods, and it was working most of the time. The main problem still happened. So when users were clicking the button at the same times, doing like onboardings or when they were in a room with their teacher, the request count increased again. And because our DB had a limited number of connections, it created a wait time. And students just saw an infinite loading on the screen while the app was processing, where the DB was processing. So we implemented an abort controller and threw an error if the request was triple our average response time of 300 milliseconds. And this, we thought it will solve the issue, but it didn't, because React Query has a default retry of 3. And if we were killing it, it will try again after 1 second, then again after 2 seconds, and again after 3 seconds, which increased our request count. You can turn it off, and you can either do it globally or at specific queries. And we thought this was pretty useful when we have rest conditions, so we only turned it off for our gamification queries. And you can do it where you declare the query. Now, this helped in the short term, but it solved the issue of the app loading forever, and we threw an error. But students are, by nature, very persistent creatures, and when they saw the error, they just clicked the button again and again and again, which caused our problem to go worse again. So we had to get back to basics. So every time we had a new gamification action, we returned the representation of the entire system back from the REST request. So if you don't know, REST actually stands for representational state transfer. So when you create a resource, you return the representational of the resource back. So instead of having 12 GET requests that return the gamification system, we were returning it only when we were making a POST request. And then we were taking advantage of setQueryData method to optimistically update the cache of all of our queries. And then we kept using the GET request just for the initial payload. Now this in turn took our 16 requests that we were making on average per gamification action to 0. We removed the entire invalidation gamification function, and we stopped invalidating completely for our gamification features, which made the app finally work correctly. Now, some more tips and tricks that we tried and didn't work, and we thought was the issue. We had the misconception that stale time was the problem because the default is 0, and we thought every time the page was rendering something, we thought that was causing the many, many requests. That is not true. Stale time means that when the data is considered stale, but it's still served from the cache, and a refetch is triggered only when the component mounts or on Windows focus and other part like reconnect. And yeah. Then we also had, 3 years ago, there was this property called cache time. Now it has been renamed to GC time. And we again assume that this property causes refetch it when it expired. But that was wrong, and I'm guessing this was the reason you guys renamed it, because people fall into this trap. It actually controls how long inactive data stays in the cache before being garbage collected. And then there was another trick that we found that you can use, that you can structure your query keys. Instead of having 12, 13, 15 invalidate queries, you can have actually hierarchical keys, gamification actions, gamification challenges, and then you invalidate just once using the gamification. Now, I hope my real-life example makes you think twice about how many requests you're making, and at least make you go open your network tab in the developer tools and check how many you're making on initial load and when you click a button, and hopefully optimize some requests. And if you're a little curious about me, I've been coding for 15 years, some cool startups that turn scale-ups. And because I'm approaching 40 years of age, I am required by law to start a podcast. So I have a podcast. It's called Seniors at Scale. And I was privileged to have so many amazing guests. And just recently convinced Dominique to appear in a future episode. So yeah, stay tuned. And thank you for joining me.